Hello, welcome to Yin Yasa Yoga. My name is Bridget from Lucky Elephant Yoga and Wellness, and I'm going to be guiding you through this really balancing practice today. So, if you're not familiar with Yin Yasa, it is literally combining yin and yang energies of our body into our on the mat practice. Yin yoga is all about connecting into our yin energy, our calming, our grounded, our cooling energy, the feminine, the moon energy, right? Our parasympathetic nervous system. And so we do that through holding our poses for about 5 to 7 minutes. Not warrior two, not handstand, not headstand, any of those, but really grounding, kind of opening, stretching postures. And what happens is at about 3 minutes, our body releases muscular effort. And then we start to inform and strengthen our connective tissue. Our ligaments, our tendons, our fascia all begin to become informed, strengthened, and be able to support our joints a little bit better. Then, from about 5 to 7 minutes, you're in that connective tissue, you're getting deeply, you're informing, right? And then you move on to the next posture. And each posture targets a different part of the body, a different space, um, and helps to inform that. And then our yang practice is our flow, is that muscular, active, heated sun energy, right? And we are so connected. It's our sympathetic nervous system. And throughout our days, we are so connected to our sympathetic nervous system. We are in that fight or flight, go, go, go all the time. And our sympathetic nervous system is important, right? There's so many functions of the body that we need our sympathetic nervous system to be kicked in for. But when we're always in that heightened state and we don't balance the two systems of our body, then we get problems, disease, and other issues. So, Yin yoga or yin yasa yoga is designed to combine our yin and our yang energies so that we find balance. We find balance in the body, we find balance in the mind, we find balance in the breath, right? We can work the body in multiple ways. So, for this class, we're going to start doing some yin postures, move into just a little bit of flow to move the joints that we informed, and that'll be our practice. So, as always, I just want to remind you to um, listen. Listen to your bodies, listen to your practice, and listen to what feels appropriate for you in this moment. Don't try to push. Even in our yin postures, you're going to find a little bit of resistance and that sensation in the body. But if it goes to a place where you can't take a deep breath, then it's not okay. If you don't feel stable, if you can't breathe into it, then you need to adjust. And within the 5 to 7 minutes, however long we're staying in these postures, you can adjust. You can go deeper. You can come out just a little bit, right? So if something doesn't feel right, come out just a little bit. See if you've gone too deep too quickly. And maybe you'll find a little bit of information with that, right? And then in our flow practice, if something's not feeling steady, if something's not feeling right, then please make that adjustment for yourself as well. All right? So let's get started with a little yin yoga. So we're going to start today in heart bench, which is my favorite, one of my favorites. Yin yoga is my favorite. So we're going to take our blocks. So you'll need a yoga mat, a blanket or a pillow or something to cushion, and then a couple of yoga blocks. If you don't have a couple of yoga blocks, grab a couple of towels, bath towels, and kind of fold them up till they're kind of more bulky, right? That might work for you. Something that you can support yourself under. So we're going to take our blocks and just set them up in a T with one across, one down. This block here is going to come right behind the base of the skull. This block is going to be right between the shoulder blades. So the middle part of that block, right between the shoulder blades, the end part at the space where your low back and your middle back meet each other, right? So right around like the rib area. So we're going to start there. Now, I have my blocks set up on their middle height. You can go lower. I don't really recommend going higher with this one, but this one going higher is nice if you find that your shoulders and your neck are a little tight. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to find that edge of the block right at the space where my middle back and my low back meet. I'm going to start to lay back. Other block goes on the base of my skull. I can feel my shoulder blades wrapping around that long block. Then I bring the soles of my feet together and take my knees apart. Yeah, and then if this is a little too intense on your hips right away, you can also stuff some pillows or blankets or blocks underneath your knees. So my arms are going to go out to the side. If you're feeling really open in the shoulders, you can also take the arms overhead, right? But that's really intense in the shoulders, so take that at your own discretion. So get yourself set up here. I am going to set our timer for 5 minutes. All right. Remember, just breathe. This whole practice is about breathing and letting the energy move, but also letting the body release. Release its physical tension. Release the tension of the mind. To let go of anything that has been unneededly guiding you, anything that doesn't support the true essence of you. And we do that by connecting into the breath and the mind together. So allow that big full inhale into the belly, and the exhale to just soften. And maybe if there is somewhere that feels more tense, then your exhale can be routed to that place. And now to come out of the pose, we want to very carefully start to bring the knees towards one another. And then you're going to slowly let your eyes open and roll carefully to your right side, just coming off of the support, taking a moment on your side to rest. And then slowly press into your left hand and start to roll yourself up to sit really carefully, really gently, and you can turn back to center. Excellent. Okay, so our next posture that we're going to come into, you're going to take those blocks, set them up at the top of the mat, okay? And they're going to be in an equal sign this time, kind of long ways towards you. And we're going to say parallel to the outer edges of the mat. We'll say that. So on their middle height, and if you find that your shoulders are really tight, then I recommend just turning them out on just a gentle V, right? That's going to be just a little bit better on your shoulders. But if you're like, no, my shoulders are okay, then you can keep them parallel. But always remember you can adjust throughout this whole process. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to lean forward and place your elbows and your forearms onto the blocks. Then I'm going to walk my knees back just a little bit and begin to shift back. My palms of my hands are coming together and I'm just shifting my chest back, and I'm going to keep my hips right over my knees. So I'm not going to go all the way back towards like a child's pose or anything. From here, you can keep the arms extended. We're going to release through the shoulders, or you can bend those elbows and bring your hands between your shoulders. Whatever works for your shoulders there. If your head finds the ground, great, but you don't want to feel too much pressure on the head. So sometimes our tendency here is to lower our blocks to the lowest setting, but then our head is like this. And that's really bad for the cervical spine. So better to either be floating with the head or lightly touching the mat. If you're floating and that doesn't feel okay, you can take a blanket, you can take just a towel and put it underneath your forehead for a little extra support and cushion. Okay, so this is called praying mantis. So we're going to come into praying mantis, we're going to walk the knees back, we're going to set our timer. Here we go. All right, so get yourself all set up. Okay, so we come out of this very, very slowly and just start to slowly roll yourself up, pressing up onto the elbows, walking your knees under you a little bit more so you start to stack those shoulders, and then just come on to hands and knees. And then we just kind of move and shift whatever way feels appropriate. That's a great one if you're, if you're working on like your downward dog and any kind of shoulder opening postures in your yang practice, doing this pose, even just once a week, but more would give you more benefit. You'll see a difference. I've seen it happen with clients many, many times, right? They're having a problem getting deeply into their downward dog, getting the shoulders open enough to be able to get the spine long. So I put them in this posture. We begin all of their sessions with this posture, and they start seeing results pretty quickly. So it's a really great pose. It's intense, but it's really great. Okay, so take a hold of your blanket. So the next posture we're going to do is we're going to do caterpillar. So we just did 2 back bends in a row. So now we're going to do a little forward fold. So you can place your blocks off to the side unless you want to use them. And I recommend for caterpillar sitting up on the edge of a blanket or a pillow so that you can get a little natural tilt of the pelvis. We're just going to simply release the legs, extending them forward, releasing any muscular effort. So no flexing, no extension, no effort in the legs. And all we're going to do is fold forward, right? Folding forward over the legs and releasing and folding over. Now, if you find that the backs of your legs are really tight, right, especially at the start of this pose, you can place your blocks or a rolled up blanket or rolled up towel underneath your knees just to release that. Now, we're not trying to go deep here. We're really trying to work with what our body has. So even if you're like this, great. Give your body time. Let it release naturally. Let it go with the breath. You'll see the change as the body starts to release, as it starts to settle into the posture. So fold forward in your caterpillar. Let your hands be beside your legs with the elbows heavy. Good. And again, we might start high and then let our body go throughout our time here. Oh, before we do this, sorry, you can also, should have mentioned this, you can also take the blocks between your knees. Let me stop this. You can take the blocks between your knees and you can stack your blocks and you can release your forehead onto your blocks. That's another option. I like to just fold forward because then I feel like the weight of my body is really supporting progression into this pose. All right, so here we go. Just releasing shoulders and elbows and head. And you can even close your eyes because then the progression is a surprise. All right, now to come out of this pose, we want to walk the hands back, leave the head released, and roll up through your spine. Going to really progressively stack the spine and then take a moment and sit tall and breathe. Nice. Okay, so let's do one more yin pose, right and left, and that is sleeping swan, also known as pigeon in our yang practice. So we're going to slide our blanket a little farther forward on our mat, across the mat, and then I'm going to come onto hands and knees. And from here, I want to place my right knee, shin, and foot above the blanket with the right knee wider, almost just about as wide as the mat, right? And nothing is on the blanket, okay? So there's a diagonal line. Then I'm going to place that shin down. I'm going to lift my hips up and over so that I neutralize my hips. I'm on top of my left knee. I'm on top of my left foot so that my hips are neutral. It's a great gauge to find out if your hips are neutral. And then when you fold forward, folding all the way forward is not an option. We want as little effort in the body as possible. So I like to take my blocks right underneath my chest and right underneath my head. So then I can start to release the arms out. And then as I stay here, my body always releases a little bit more and I'm able to adjust the blocks. Okay? So get yourself set up in your sleeping swan. If this is not possible for you because of a knee problem or an ankle problem, then you can just lie on your back, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, right? And you can place that left foot on a coffee table, on a couch, on a wall, whatever to help support you so that you're not having to hold with your arms, okay? So let's get this all set up. This pose is wonderful for any low back, sciatic pain that you might have, or even if it's not sciatica and it's just low back tension, sacroiliac joint, any of those, then this is a great pose to do all the time, every day if you can. This practice is wonderful to do every day, in my opinion. All right, here we go. Let's fold forward. Okay, so now let's place our hands down and slowly roll up through the spine. Good, and then you can just make your way. So you can either just come to sit or you can come to hands and knees. Some people really enjoy a downward dog right after this so that you can kind of wag the hips, pedal out the feet, right? Whatever works best for you. Good. And then we'll start to make our way to the other side. So from hands and knees, let's bring the left knee, shin, and foot forward in front of the blanket. All right. And then we're going to tip up and over with the hips. So the right leg is extended back. We're on top of the knee and the foot so that we can make sure that our hips are neutral. Right. And then same thing, just fold forward. Maybe your blocks are underneath you, or your pillow, or whatever you have to support you underneath chest and your head. Here we go. And of course, we have to point out that the two sides of our body are so different. And so every pose that has a right and a left, we don't want to think as the same pose, but as two different poses. They're similar in positioning, but each side of the body is different. So each side of the body needs a little bit different attention, a little bit different breath, a little bit different modifications or support, right? So honor whatever this side needs comparative to the last side, and just to find your breath. Deep in, soft out. Okay, and so now again, we place the hands down and we press all the way up. Good, and now let's this time go ahead and make your way to hands and knees. So you can move your blanket off to the side or stick that blanket underneath your knees if your knees are feeling at all unsupported. So let's place wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And from here, start to wag the hips a little from side to side. Good. Start to wake up into the outer hips a little bit where we just opened into with breath. Let's open into with movement. And from here, let's take some circles to the wrists, to the knees. Good. And then circle the opposite direction. Awesome. Let's come back to center and inhale to arch the spine. Lift chest, lift tail, look forward. Exhale, round, lifting the belly, looking down at the navel. Inhale, lift chest, lift tail, cow pose. Exhale, lift the belly, round through the back into your cat pose. One more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. Now let's come back to a long spine. Let's shift the weight into the hands. Tuck your toes. We're going to take it up and back into downward facing dog. Good. Utilizing all that information that we brought into the body through our yin posture. So we've got length through the back of the legs, like in caterpillar. We've got opening into the chest and the shoulders, like heart bench and praying mantis. Good. Let's start to pedal the feet. One knee at a time, bending, breath into the opposite leg. Good. Now come forward to plank pose. Good. Feel the power of those arms. Yeah. Awesome. And now place your left knee down. Spin your right heel down to the left. And let's start to peel the chest up toward the right. Let the right arm follow. And let your head follow last. Good. From here, we're going to turn the right palm to face overhead. Sweep that arm up and over. Really stretching and opening through the whole right side of the body. Nice. And then let's lift the right arm up. Turn the right palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. Wrap the arm. Good. Take a little bit of a half bind here. Awesome. And finally, let's release that right arm up towards the sky. This time, press into the right foot. See if you can float the right leg up. Maybe it comes in line with the hip. Maybe it only comes a couple of inches. And from here, maybe we bend the knee. Reach your hand around and see if you can take a hold of your right foot. Good. Maybe you turn up to look up at the sky, opening up through the chest. Deep breath in and out. Good. Release that foot very carefully. We're going to place the foot down, place your hand down, and just come onto the ball of the foot. From here, lift the right leg into the air behind you, and as you exhale, bring your knee toward your nose, round your spine. Inhale, extend the leg back, and exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, leg back, and exhale, knee to nose. Good. Let's extend the leg back again. This time, shift your weight into your right hand, and let the left arm go forward, coming into a balance here. Good. Now here, we can bend the right knee. Reach around with the left hand and see if you can take a hold of the right foot. Keep pressing into that right hand, lift the chest. Good, opening up through the whole front of the right leg, whole front of the right thigh. Good, then release that leg. Sweep your left arm forward. Place your left hand down and cross your right leg over to the left. Tuck those right toes, look over your left shoulder, and see if you can see that right foot. Deep breaths here. Good, and now let's bring the right knee back beside the left, coming back to hands and knees. Give those hips a little wag from side to side once more. From here, extend your left arm out to the side. Let's come into a nice twist. Thread your left arm underneath and lower onto your left shoulder and the left side of your head. Good. Now, taking note that if you're going to go any further from here, we want to make sure that we really ground into that left upper arm. So, if the left upper arm is grounded, then your right arm can lift and wrap. If not, just keep the right hand down. You can also try extending the right leg back behind you again. Good, and you might even float the right leg. Yeah, so all of these pieces of this puzzle can come together if you're feeling super grounded into that left upper arm. Nice. Place your right foot down. Unwind your right arm. Unthread your left arm. And find hands and knees once more. Wag the hips from side to side. Good. Let's shift the weight into the hands. Tuck your toes. Take it up and back. Downward facing dog. Good. Again, pedaling the feet. And just a little bit of deeper breath into your down dog today. Good. And now let's again come forward to plank pose. Engaging the front ribs towards each other. And then lower your right knee down. Spin your left heel to the right. Start to peel the chest all the way up towards the sky. And then the left arm floats up. Good. From here, let's turn the left palm to face overhead. Sweep that arm up and over. Really stretching and breathing through the whole left side. Nice. And then lift that left arm up. Now we try to float the left leg. And maybe bend the left knee and reach around and perhaps take a hold of the left foot. Really opening up through the chest. Gaze can go up to the sky. It can be straight ahead or it can be down at your right hand. Whatever feels more supported for you. Good. Now release that left leg, lift the arm. Place your left foot down, place the left hand down, and spin onto the ball of the left foot. Let's lift the left leg into the air behind you. And exhale, bring your knee toward your nose and round the spine. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. And one more time, exhale, round. And now extend the leg again. Shift your weight into your left hand. Sweep the right arm forward. Good, coming into a balance. And then you can bend the left knee, reach your right hand around, and maybe take a hold of that left foot, giving a little lift of the chest. Breathing into those quadriceps. Good. Release the left leg, sweep the arm forward, place your right hand down. Cross your left leg over to the right, tuck those left toes, and look over your right shoulder. Try to see your left foot. Good. Deep breaths here. Good. And now we'll bring the left knee beside the right and find hands and knees once more. From here, extend your right arm out to the side. And let's take that twist. Threading the right arm under, come onto your right shoulder, the right side of your head. Good, and then again, gauging this time the right upper arm. You can lift your left arm, wrap it around. You can extend the left leg back, and you might even be able to float that left leg into the air. Good, and now let's place the left foot down if it's lifted. Unwind your left arm, unthread your right arm, hands and knees, wag the hips. Good. Let's take it one more time up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal those feet. Nice. Good, let's come forward to plank pose again. And this time we're gonna lower slowly down to the belly. Good, you can release the tops of the feet, release your forehead down, but keep your hands right underneath the shoulders. From here, we'll come into baby cobra. So roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, lift your head, pressing into the hands. Good, keep your sits bones reaching towards your heels to support your low back. And then exhale, release and lower down. Good. Let's walk the hands back just about a ½ inch. We're going to come up into half cobra. So the elbows are going to stay bent, but the chest, the ribs are going to lift. Ready? So we go up just a little higher, and then we lower back down. Good. Let's try that one more time. Ready? Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Awesome. Now we're going to take it into full cobra. So hands just a little bit lower so they're right beside the ribs. Feel your sits bones reaching towards your heels, which is going to engage your low belly and support your low back. From here, we lift all the way up. Good. Hugging those arms in. And we lower all the way down. Good. Now we did 1 baby, 2 medium. So what do you think you're going to do for full? My math whizzes out there. You're right. 3. So we got 2 more. Ready? All the way up. And all the way slowly down. Great. One more time. All the way up. And slowly back down. Wonderful. Release a cheek. Arms down by your side. And wag your hips a little from side to side. Good. Let's turn the forehead back down. Bring your hands under your shoulders and press all the way back to a child's pose this time. Good. We can separate the knees. Bring the big toes together. Shift your hips back and fold forward, releasing the low back. Good. From here, let's walk the upper body over to the right. Press into your left hand, shift towards your left hip, and breathe into the left side of the body. Good. Come back to center. Good. Walk it over to the left. Press into your right hand, shift towards your right hip. Breathing into the whole right side. Good, and then again, back to center for just another couple of breaths here. Awesome, let's bring the hands back beside the knees and roll yourself up to sit. Beautiful. Let's swing the legs around, have a seat. All right, let's place the feet down, knees bent, sitting tall. Good, we're gonna take the hold of the back of the thighs. Begin to shift back into the seat a little bit, and we're gonna lift one leg, lift the other leg, extend one arm, extend the other arm, and find your boat pose. So you can extend the legs, you can keep a hold of the thighs, right? We wanna keep the chest opening here, breathing. Good, and then slowly lower those feet and lower all the way down onto your back. Nice. Let's keep the knees bent, feet on the mat, and place your arms down by your side. And so we're just going to move through some hip lifts and lowers, little rolling bridges today. So palms facing down. Let's inhale and float the hips up. And exhale and lower the hips down. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. One more time, lift it up. And now here I want you to do some little pulses. So we're going to lower and lift, lower, but not lowering all the way. Just a small lower and lift. Good. And then press it up, breathe. Maybe you can snuggle the shoulders, clasp your hands and come into full bridge. Deep breaths. And then release those hands and lower your hips all the way down. So this is a really interesting thing to note is that in an active pose, in a yang practice, in a yang pose, you can incorporate yin energy with your breath by just breathing into the belly, deep, slow inhale, deep, soft exhale. You incorporate your parasympathetic nervous system response into a more yang, sympathetic type posture. And then your nervous system learns to stay grounded in times of stress. That's the trick of this practice. That's the trick of yoga. So now you have like the full trick of yoga. You can go out, you can market it, you can sell it. No, don't do that. So we're still on our back. Good. And let's just open the arms wide. Good. Let's tip both knees over to the left. Coming into just a nice supine twist, both shoulders release down. You can turn your head to the right. Maybe the left hand rests on top of the right thigh. Good. And then again, back to center. Take it over to the right. And you can turn your head to the left. Maybe the right hand rests on top of the left thigh. But we're keeping both shoulders super grounded into the mat. Good. And then again, just finding center once more. Let's just carefully bring both knees into the chest. Holding onto the tops of the knees, take some circles in one direction. And the opposite direction. Good. And now let's just place the feet down on the mat. We're going to move into Shavasana today, letting all of the effects of this practice settle into the body. So we extend the legs forward. We let the arms be a little bit away from us. And again, bring that attention of your breathing just into your belly. That deep inhale and the soft exhale. And give your mind permission here to just let go, to be present and attentive into your breathing, into this moment, and connecting deeper into that divine peace that is you. And begin to deepen your breathing. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Reach your arms overhead and take a big yawning stretch. And then bend your knees and roll carefully to your right side. Take a moment on your side just to connect back to that easy, peaceful energy. And then you can begin to press yourself slowly up to sit, finding once more a tall, vertical seat. And the crown of your head's lifting as your sits bones are grounding. So there's this connection to heaven, to earth, to the sky, to the ground, to the active, to the soft, to that yin and yang energy within you and around you. And your eyes can either be closed or in a soft downward gaze as we once more just breathe. Let's bring the palms of your hands together in front of your heart and bow very carefully with your head to your hands. A soft gratitude for this practice of balance, of connection, for the balance that keeps us moving through our day, for this connection to energy that makes up us and the world around us so that we understand how deeply connected we are. And